our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kanta at programang Tatak Pinoy. Napapanood at napapakinggan kahit saan ka man. Streaming worldwide. In South Manila, this is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan, kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. Dahil mahal namin
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. We now bring you the program that brings together leading personalities, representative insights, all together in a meaningful and delightful conversations as your social barometer. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Hosted by breakthrough millennial boomer Gracie Valenzuela. Only here on V81 Radio.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock once again. Welcome to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. Tonight, we're going to be presenting something unique and something different, but will definitely add value to all the companies out there who are looking to add to their skills, to retool, and to train their most valuable asset. Because if you ask any entrepreneur or any C-level executive, what is your company's greatest assets? Bet you they will say our people are our greatest assets. And tonight we have the executives who form together a dynamic team of people that are able to bring a lot of very interesting training programs and a weekly podcast to boot to add value to your learnings and to make HR a very exciting and dynamic world for all professionals out there. Let's all welcome the executives of HR Shouts and Whispers. I'd like to call on Mr. George Ramos, Organizational Development Expert, and Ken Sumera, Conversational Hypnotherapist and NLP Expert. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, good
Magandang
evening.
gabi. Magandang gabi. Yeah, good evening.
Kamusta na kayo, George and Ken? How have you been coping so far with this pandemic, George?
Me, I'm good. Of course, things can be better, pero we have to adjust, as they say. And it's been really good right now. In terms of not just the business front, but also with this exciting thing ahead of us. No? Dami nating nakikilala, dami nating nakaka-interact, dami nating pwedeng tulungan.
Tama yun. Ken, how about you? How are you doing? And how has this pandemic made a very big difference in your life?
Well, more clients actually this pandemic with my profession. So it's been being very busy. It's also a very good time to upskill. So I've been spending the pandemic time actually focusing on talking to people, helping them see choices that they haven't seen yet, and upskilling myself by
Yes,
doing YouTube and Facebook every day.
yes, actually, the pandemic has actually opened a lot of doors for many people, myself included, because before the pandemic or BP, before the pandemic, I was into special events management and marketing consultancy. When the pandemic hit, I became a digital broadcaster. You know, I was never really into digital broadcasting before, but my first broadcast was last Easter Sunday, and I'm now into my second season, and
Wow.
I'm so glad that both of you can join us. Unfortunately, our other friend Christina
Yeah.
will try to follow if she gets her internet connection. I guess that's the downside of being on an online broadcaster. Is that if your internet connection is out, then you're out of the ball game. But hopefully she'll get it back. But nevertheless, I know that between the three of us, we'll be able to carry on. Now, HR Shouts and Whispers is a group that that was formed. And how long have you two guys been together with Christina on this? Ken, maybe you can
Uh,
start.
Anong petsa ngayon? September, no? Around exactly the same time last year when we started actually our first episode for HR Shouts and Whispers. This has been a very good idea coming from Christina. And me and George got to like the idea because we've been actually giving value already doing our Facebook lives and streams online. So as Christina wanted to focus on the HR communities per se, because personally, how I saw things is Christina was always in the active groups, like Philippine HR group and other HR groups here, answering questions from HR people. So as I got to see her being an expert answering different questions, really hard questions, sabi ko, this person has really the logic and the know-how to actually help more people. So I was actually doing my own FB lives already. So I actually stretch my hand, Chris. I'd be glad to help you with putting up something for the HR communities, and then that's where HR your first episode, yeah. So pero siya yung main host. Siya yung main host. I'm
Right.
here just to support her.
Yeah. How about you, George?
Me, I was part of HR Shouts and Whispers a little bit later. Uh, okay, here's the funny thing. I knew Ken about 2 years ago kasi nga I've been following him uh, in his social media channel, no, in his YouTube channel. And then from a common class, we were able to get in touch with each other. We were part of this other group doing social media naman, no? So ako naman, coming from an HR, organizational development background, I decided to transition into digital marketing because I thought, and I think still it is still the wave of the future. You know? So simply
Yes.
put, I felt this is gonna be the real thing that's going to really affect everyone in terms of how we do our work. No? So let's go into social media and marketing. Now, Chris, on the other hand, was actually an org mate of mine from years back. I realized when Ken introduced me, sabi ko, kilala ko to eh, ka-org-mate ko to. So, so isang org kami sa UP nung dati, year 1995 or 96. And then I said, si Christina to, I know her. So, and then HR pala
So
siya. So,
Yeah.
for some, reason or the other, we just got together and say, hey, hi, how are you? Well,
Yeah.
let's join together and all that. So, yeah.
That's
yeah.
great. That's great. I also gravitated in her circle very recently because prior to the pandemic, we were trying to put some event projects together and some broadcast projects together. And then when the pandemic started, she linked up with me to invite me to be a guest in HR Shouts and Whispers, and that was a fun experience. And then after a few weeks, because we kept in touch the whole time, chatting and all that. And then now I'm part of a training pool, doing communication
Yay.
training for HR practitioners,
Yay.
which I think I would say serendipitous because it's something that's very close to my heart, and I've been a marketing communications practitioner for more than 25 years.
Wow.
So I just have to tweak my presentation to her objective, and boom, voila, last week I was able to give my first online webinar module. I'm probably the newest kid in your block, but having experienced that, I thought it best to let's take a look at the brand HR Shouts and Whispers. First of all, it's a pretty the name itself. It's not a typical branding for an HR consultancy, but I feel that there's something there. I know that it was probably the brand that you started as a podcast, but moving into hardball HR consultancy and maybe HR marketing, it's an interesting brand to push. I told Christine tonight, I think I'm gonna explore it further with you guys, and here we are. So George, I know that OD is one of the pillars of most HR consultancies, right? Can you tell me a little bit about your background in organizational development so that we can start the ball rolling on the traditional services that the consultancy brings to the table?
Okay, so the traditional services. Okay, let's siguro backtrack lang. I've been into OD from as early as 1998. Tagal na 90s pa, no? Batang 90s pa. But
Yeah.
it's been an interaction between OD, HR, and sales. So as we went along, different companies. I came from a multinational. I went into IT. I went into IT, and then went into BPO, and then oil and gas, multinational again. Until finally, I went into a consulting company, and then I decided, hey, I'm just going to do this on my own. Now, how it certainly fits where we are right now. It's not really more. and I agree with the traditional OD thing, no? Kasi people confuse OD as just learning and development, but it's not that, no. With HR shouts and whispers, and we're very happy that we have Christina and Ken with us, and a host of other folks, no. Organization development, really more of the holistic approach, no, of helping organizations change, no, within the different domains that it can master. So there's HR, there's operations, there's sales, marketing, there's processes, there's, you want to put Lean Sigma into it, everything else. And putting that together into something that's going to be fit for purpose for organizations is something that we really want to evangelize, no? Kasi when they say kasi it's OD, people think na, hey, you're just going to be there to teach people and give them skills. Actually, no, it's OD is quite different kasi we're going to give skills, but we're also going to help you understand your processes better. We're going to help you communicate better. We're going to help you change better. So it's really more of that. No? So it's something deeper, and then I think that's what the whole that segment of HR shouts and whispers is all about. Plus
Yeah.
bigger things of other things, and then there's this other bit, and I'm glad that I have Ken with me and Christina is because we're also trying to push forward the marketing side of HR, which is also a very big part of OT. You're
Oh, yeah.
also a marketing di ba? Professional, Tita Gracie. So what we're saying here is people have long neglected that aspect, thinking that HR is just really for number crunchers. It's not. There's a marketing side to it, and there's a science behind it, and that's
Yes.
where we come in. Ken comes in, Christina comes in. So there. That's probably they may explain it better, but from my perspective, I think that's how I see it.
Yeah, because traditionally, when you say HR, people are going to say, "Oh, recruitment, hiring, um, onboarding, and then training, right? And then managing the life cycle of the employee from onboarding to offboarding." But between onboarding and offboarding, there's so many other things that come into play. And especially now, I think there are other hats that an HR practitioner wears, right? Beyond those basic functions, and crafting an organization that adapts because of the changes, and when companies merge and acquisition, you get acquired by another company. My goodness, there's a lot of re-engineering that has to happen, and that is a very complicated and possibly very complex process to undergo. And the typical HR of before, the old school, coming to this century, you really have evolved into a very there is a science to it, and a lot of experts have now emerged to help organizations to make this transition and to adapt to the changes. Now, as far as learning is concerned, it's not just also the traditional training programs or team building and all that, because learning has now evolved into a very wide scope of subjects, right?
Yes, that's correct. In fact, Gracie, to simplify it for our listeners and our people who are watching, the whole spectrum of organizational development, it's much like managing the pandemic. You will know if it's managed well if the results come out well.
Right.
And if it's not managed well, it means no, the results will not come out well. Ganun din ang OD. No, OD is there to provide the clarity, to provide the right actions, and to support it with learning. So ganun siya. Ganun yung
Yeah. Right, and even from the angle of communications, because the module that I developed for the company is to provide a communications strategy for the HR professional to hop in and where the communicators at, and it's all about aligning with the business purpose of the organization. Whereas
Really.
before, the only thing that they would think of as communicators, let's make a newsletter and that's it.
So
But it's no
PR lang.
longer, yeah, let's just have a newsletter so people will know what's going on, but it's gone beyond that. Now it can be a definite growth strategy, and also to inculcate a certain corporate culture that is very important these days, right? And when it comes to communication, then the important angle right now that they have to learn, HR practitioners have to learn, are the way marketing has been using communications tools from way back, no? The discipline of marketing communication can now be absorbed and integrated into the HR function for its internal purposes. So I find that quite interesting, and to my mind, it's a new door that's opening for communications professionals like myself. And with the advent of digital, and you can do podcasts and all that. Now the expertise of Ken and creating new behaviors. That's now his domain, right, Ken?
Siyempre.
Influencing new behavior, changing the way people think about HR and all the other, I would say, value adding. No, it's important to the life of the employee, not just as a worker, but to a complete and quality life that the employee has to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Mm.
Yeah, and in fact, I know that you have been interviewing people with a lot of topics. I mean, it's no joke to have a weekly podcast, and I think you guys do it. You've done it for more than a year. So, what's your experience, Ken?
Yeah, for the past few days, I've been doing it every day. So up till now, one week, Monday, Tuesday, every day, iba-iba yung guest ko. For me, my experience with all of this is like how I see things. Things will just be everything will be online. I'm also getting to see how money is getting shifted online too through cryptocurrencies. So things will change. It just depends on us how we adapt to that change. Okay, so looking at how George explained it, we got to meet each other through means like a social media academy. We got to meet there, and we got to talk about how we can improve lives through actually reaching out through this types of options like online, this podcasts, FB lives, and coming from a marketing background, I was looking at what's the main platform that people use. It's Facebook. So as we got to notice, oh, okay, Facebook. Ano yung how do people see our posts mostly? So back in the day, like last year, I got to notice that when you go live, mostly all your friends are notified that you are live, right? So sabi ko, instead of posting a post or a picture, this gets their attention kaagad. So going this route and spreading it through HR groups, for example, I saw the concept of Christina just like interviewing experts and people who have value that could offer, general insight to not just HR people, but anyone who wants to learn. And it's free. It's free. You could just go in and tune in one week, and this is our guest. We talk about this stuff. We even talked about tarot reading. We even talked about graphology. So they're like different people with different expertise that are willing to share their knowledge, their experience, and insights every week. So even up to right now, I'm always excited to actually be an part of the show, even though I just hi guys, I just semi host, because at the same time it's 1 hour a week, and that's 1 hour learning for me. So
Yes.
adding my expertise in regards to human behavior, neurolinguistic programming, sales. This is what I put into the table. I get to help HR shouts and whispers in regards to posting to other groups, connecting with other resource speakers. And I think moving forward, Christina has really lots and lots of plans to connect with more people and share more value.
Yeah. And I'm happy to be the newest kid on the block and to be part of the whole HR Shouts and Whispers initiative. And also in whatever small sphere of influence I have, I would like my show to also push the objectives of the organization, because I feel that this network that we have can only get bigger and better if we put our resources together.
Yeah.
Because V81 radio is broadcast all over the world, and in the States we're in all the Alexa, Amazon devices. We broadcast on 5 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, our website, our downloadable mobile app, and like I said, in all Amazon devices in the US. We reach a lot of OFWs and Filipino communities all over the world. But our primary target audience is really the Philippines. And we have a varied programming, and since I do lifestyle, arts and culture, and whatever social issue of the day I'd like to discuss, I feel that creating an avenue to connect you guys or the whole HR Shouts and Whispers community and getting to know, for you to be, to increase awareness for the target market. I think that's important to us, so we can reach more people and add greater value, because who knows, there may be people out there or companies out there that are looking for just the expertise that HR Shouts and Whispers can offer. So we're going to go on a short break right now. Time flies so quickly, but when we return, we're going to a deeper dive into your respective fields of expertise. So don't go away, friends out there. Our discussion with George Ramos and Ken Somero will continue after a few reminders.
We'll be back shortly with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O di ba madali lang, kaya i-like at i-follow na. Are you looking for new songs to include in your playlist?
Salamat sa lahat na sasabihin. Listen to my head. Pahiram ng sandali.
Napam na ang bahala sa September playlist nyo. Abangan at makijam kina Regine Ong, Butter Giant, Scalia 143 at Bandang Lapis dito lang sa Napam, your new all-Pinoy alternative music source. Manood at makijam every Sunday, 1 p.m. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, South Manila. Kabayan, nahuhumsik ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napam Hour. Ang Napam ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napam Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Talagang October to remember dahil hindi din pahuhuli ang ibang Viva OPM artists na sasabak sa kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 kasama si Papa Gio, Yumi Laksamana, ISID, Solstice, Just Rap, and Sabu. Kaya iset nyo na ang mga kalendaryo nyo tuwing Merkules 7pm California time o Huwebes 10am Pinas time at samahan si Papa Gio para makipagkulitan, tawanan at kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2. Dito yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Now back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio.
Hi, we're back. And tonight we are featuring the executives and the key personnel behind HR Shouts and Whispers. And I'd like to call back our guests, George Ramos and Ken Sumera. Okay.
So, we're back.
Welcome back, guys. Now, my next question to both of you would be this. Usually in a crisis situation, what happens is there are services that or companies, HR functions that maybe are not given that much importance, or maybe they'll shelve it for a later date. But as it happens, because of the pandemic, there has been a surge of webinars and training programs and retooling and all that. What do you think is the cause of that? I mean, of course, people are stuck at home or are just at home. But what led to this phenomenon?
Okay, so for me, the best business case is always a business customer. You know, all businesses have customers, and at the end of the day, it is imperative for any business to serve their customers well, to delight them, especially right now, because now is the time to give your all. No? People are watching you closely as a business. And the only way for you to do that is to upskill your people, especially if the people aren't that much upskilled. No? So some people think kasi na okay, let's cut our budgets for learning and development and training. And I don't even call it training. It's something holistic as long as people are developing. No, and you have to do it right now while everyone is watching you, because at the end of the day, you have to serve your customers. If your customers don't get the service that they deserve, especially right now during crisis, they will move away and go to another more agile, faster adapting organization. So yun yung for me, if there's any cause or root case to it, that would be it. It's really more of the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's very important to keep the customer at the center of your operations. If you remove your focus, more so in a time of crisis, some way, somehow, your operations will definitely suffer. Do you share that same viewpoint, Ken?
Sa akin, kasi as I get to look at this pandemic, we also get to watch how people communicate. Right? So there, a lot of people are really, when the quarantine started, we were all shocked. What to do next? Panic buying. We didn't know what will happen next. So a lot of people, a lot of companies had to adapt on how they would communicate their instructions, their message, and what would happen next. So the next thing that I saw was everyone was going online through Zoom. And everyone had to quickly adapt and understand how this worked, this modality worked. So there was really a time of adjustment for everyone. There were like workshops and online webinars that focused just on how to turn your business on, digitize your business. Right? So as I was listening to what George was saying, this is us being humans adapting to change. That's why I don't know what's next. really, that's a big question. That's a big question because I won't say that this is the new normal. as one of my friends said, I'm just copying him. This is the new temporary, because we don't know what would happen next. Because I work with mindset, I work with programming the mind. So if you say that this is the new normal and repeat it every time, what do you think happens to what's in here? Normal,
Yeah,
normal, normal. So you get,
yeah.
when you get accustomed to normal, it gets also hard to change.
That's a unique perspective. And there's something there. You touched on something very interesting about it being the new temporary, and it's really
Sounds good.
not the new norm. I think
Sounds good.
there's something there because we all know that this is a transition. That there will be at some point in time a tapering off of the pandemic, and society, of course, society and business as we knew it is gone. What we are undergoing is a transition. So I guess the term temporary is appropriate.
Sounds
But
good.
when we settle on a new normal post pandemic, that's probably, I don't know, in a year's time or so. Again, there's still uncertainty. We don't know how it will affect the way people will behave. But certainly, what's important is coping with the now, coping with the now, and coping with the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
In terms of organizations, business dealings, managing corporations, and living day-to-day life. Now,
Mm.
that's why I guess the whole idea of HR shouts and whispers becomes quite significant because people, aside from being professional management, if they are working, they have to manage they're managing people, and we've got to manage ourselves as individuals. So that's the human aspect of it. And given the technology of the times, that we are all communicating via the internet, and just getting staking our claim on whatever area of the internet we can control, right? Is now going to be part of a long-term lifestyle.
Mm.
Whereas before we resisted this sort of immersion on the internet, but now it's a lifestyle. What do you think?
Actually, Gracie, I like what you said on coping, and coming from Ken's take on adapting. I think for the new temporary, the, the the operative word that I'm looking at is to be able to lead, or for that matter, trailblaze, or in fact lead, everyone else. No, lead everyone else a few more steps ahead of them, so that whatever happened before will no longer happen again. Remember, we were caught flat-footed. We were caught flat-footed. We thought that, yeah, this is just going to be really short, but no. Like, especially here in our country, it's been like almost a year already. We're still in the lockdown, and then there's so much uncertainty. So the thing there is, let's adapt faster. But this time, now that we're learning, let's lead it. No? Let's be steps ahead of everyone, so that we can, wherever it's going to take us, it's going to be faster to arrive in that destination. So I
Yes.
think it's really more of putting yourself in that position, and not just with HR, but with learning and
Yeah.
development, and everything else, communications. Let's
Yes.
take this, let's lead it, let's lead the path, so that we arrive to the destination fast.
Yes,
Mm.
that's very interesting because if we don't own it, if we don't, like you said, lead the pack, and really taking stock of where we are right now, and not anymore thinking that this is emergency mode, but this is now a new way of life, then the perspective changes, and our behavior ought to change and adapt. And hopefully, there will be systems that will be created that will enable us to create I would say, a smoother or a more efficient manner of doing things, whether it's learning, whether it's managing communities, government, companies, and like in the area of changing behaviors. Ken, that's your expertise. It's really a holistic thing. We can't just say, okay, we're gonna do this to, for the new normal. My view is really creating a new paradigm,
There you go.
completely new paradigm, and that will affect a lot of areas of what would say living, modern living, even in the area of, let's say, how we get our healthcare, how we buy groceries, and if you put that into, let's say, an organizational perspective, how to hire, how to train, how to encourage corporate culture and grow your or steering your organization towards your vision. So it's the impact is deep and can be very long range.
Mm. Yeah, my just to add some thoughts because I got to listen to what you guys said. Um, there's this mindset that I usually incorporate. It's what I call the what's next mindset. So when I look at things, for example, I look at into sales. Parang what's next? Ano, if I were to go into sales, what would be the next big thing moving forward? So before it was just normal, you get to talk to people, but now innovation came and there's like marketing takes the bigger part of sales right now. And there's a thing that we call social selling right now, which involves social media, and you get to sell through social media now. Most of selling happens here. So talking about this concept, what's next? I got to like talk to you guys, Gracie, George, Christina, and we're all, we're all adapting, pero we're also innovating as we adapt. Okay, so as we get to communicate with more people, we learn also not just from ourselves, our experiences, but also from the experiences of other people. So as we move forward with this, we get to see visions. Teka lang, this expert is looking in this direction. This expert is looking in this direction. Why are they looking in that direction? Now that's a question I always ask myself. And when I get to ask myself that, parang sabi ko, oh nga no, why not we incorporate that? If you position yourself as not the expert but as the end user, what would you need? So for example, I want to learn. It's a very nice way to learn, do face to face training. But can I do face to face training when there are sanctions to do like bawal mag workshops? Wala. So we have to adapt. Now we have to also see the experts in the field. What are they doing to maintain the attention? Because right now, what we get to notice, attention is so fast. It's gone in a
Yeah.
second. It's gone in a
Yes.
second. Yeah.
In
So
marketing,
yeah.
there's such a thing as ennui point. At some point in time, you lose the attention of your audience, no?
Yeah.
And because especially for the younger generation, who multitask, who are in front of multiple screens the whole day, their attention spans are really very short. So in
Yeah.
terms of delivery of courses, for instance, and
Mm.
designing courses, designing webinars, designing communication material
Mhm.
for our audience, we must put those insights into play. So how would that affect, let's say, the designing of your course, for instance, George?
Uh, with us, what we do is me and Ken, when we design our courses, we usually um, number one is always instead of the usual show and tell. No, instead of the usual, hey, this is your PowerPoint. We're going to walk you through this thing, these concepts. We would rather have them, understand the concepts by giving them, let's say, for example, concepts that they will learn in advance, and then we ask questions. No, we ask the questions, we challenge their thinking, no, and not just ask the questions. We also have them do things, practical things, that they would do offline, and then come back to us with their insights and their results. Now,
Yeah.
usually that's more effective nowadays because and how we do it is we gamify also some of these things. Like, we can put in a deadline or how many people can actually fill up a certain amount of responses or comments, and then we close the thing. So there's this, we put in some gamified elements just to make sure that you know addressing really the attention span. And
Yes,
again,
yes,
for us, the number one thing that me and Ken and even Christina have been discussing is you have to respect your audience. Number
yeah,
one, you have to respect them. People right now, if you're going into this, online learning modality, you just can't say, na, hey, this is my concept and feed it to them. You have to make them judge what you have, so that they themselves can understand it better. So
yes.
respect is number one. I think
Right.
that's the key things that we're looking at.
Yeah, because in the same manner that when we're designing communications program, you start with the audience in mind, and we've got to do the spade work, find out what's what are their values, how do they how will you be able to engage them in a manner that will keep them the interest level high and the engagement level deeper and all that. So in terms of designing communications programs, there's got to be, like you've got to put on your marketing hat or your advertiser's hat. And if you can say it in like a 30-second there, present it in a concise, witty, you got to be a bit of a copywriter in a sense because you got to put the words right. You can't be, over saying or over using words and, exact language is necessary these days, and also to have that kind of appeal, that emotional and mental appeal. And when you have a message, you are able to hit the right spot so that that message will be, absorbed and delivered and accepted and integrated into the behavior of that person. Because as a student, as a learner, they've got to buy into your ideas, right? They've got to buy into whatever it is you're presenting. And if there's a disconnect, you lose them. And that's a wasted opportunity to I would say a wasted opportunity, and you're not able to achieve your objective. So when you create when moving forward, as you go into I know that you're in touch with different kinds of people and clients and all that. What do you think are they looking for? What would be I don't know, the priorities or the new things that they would be looking for in an initiative like HR Shouts and Whispers?
Letter S, solutions. I mean, most businesses have problems. Most people have problems.
Yeah.
So as we get to learn those problems, I get we get to find solutions too. But on how I see things in regards to neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy, we mainly give a different approach. It's not that I, as an expert, give a solution. I help them find the solution, because most of the time when we give the solutions that they're not prepared to accept, it's just a waste of time,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if we could work together, for example, the problem is that there are like some people that are really not emotionally well right now. You have to fully engage with that concern as much as possible. I don't want to call it a problem. I'd rather shift it to a word called concern, diba?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something that could easily be worked through, right? So
Yeah.
with that, there's always a change in perspective. Everyone has a problem. Now the question is, what would help this company or this person coming from point A reach point B, which is the goal. So what
Yes.
is the goal? Right? So if we bounce back to the question earlier in regards to training, that's the same question eh. Yun yung itatanong ko eh. Kasi we offer training differently. Parang it's not about just bridging your through theories in your mind, your systems. No eh. Why? Because sometimes what trainers miss is they don't know if the person already knows what they're delivering, right? So parang me as a student coming to a training session, alam ko na yung training nung trainer the whole day eh. I didn't learn anything new. So what we want to put in the table, siguro this is a shout out to all the trainers and coaches out there. You get to ask the people, the trainees, pagdating mo dun, teka lang, why are you here? What would you want? What's your expectation? What would you ano yung gusto mo makuha outside of this training, right? And when they give their inputs on that, you could generally give the solutions kaagad simula pa lang nung training, right? And everything just comes as a bonus. So you could deliver to your heart's content, pero at the same time, they attended because they have some things that they want to improve. They have some problems that they want to have solutions to. So
Yeah.
most of the time, it's not addressed. Yeah.
In an ideal world, you would have the luxury of resources and time to do a training needs analysis. But nowadays,
Yeah.
we don't have that. We don't have that luxury of time or resources. You have something to add, George?
Well, yeah, and I want to add to Ken. Tama eh. You because you respect your audience, you came there to provide a solution to their problem by giving them what exactly do they need. Diba? Kasi if and here's the thing kasi with and again it's not really more of being against the normal practice or the traditional practice, but people come to the table, hey, let's do a training needs analysis based on data, quote and unquote. The best data is to ask the person himself or herself.
Yes.
Diba? Ask the person, ano ba talaga yung pinunta mo rito? Otherwise, people will tell you na, alam mo, dali naman i-Google yan eh. And that's where the part of the trainer wearing many hats of facilitating, challenging your audience, asking questions, putting intelligent thought into how you communicate so that you elicit exactly what they need. Kasi kung hindi ka marunong mag-communicate, if you don't know how to put it in words to elicit action, hindi mo rin makukuha yung kailangan mong data.
Yes.
And that's the number one problem. Even with data scientists, I tell you, even with data scientists right now, if you don't know what to put out there, you can't elicit the right data. And because you ask the question, di ba? Parang, how do you know if this is what they need? Simple. You ask them. And give them what they want, what they need. And you've
Right.
already solved their problem.
Yeah. And in this industry, it's very competitive. No, a lot of companies have come forward, especially during the pandemic, and the internet is crowded with training companies, consultancies, etc. And the uniqueness of HR shouts and whispers is, I feel, very evident. Branding pa lang, it's already so unique, and the melange or the menu of services with a institutionalized podcast already in place, it creates you create noise, or you create waves, and the training now has a different face.
Yeah.
And I feel that's important in this day and age, to stand out, to have a brand, to stand out, and to put that unique stamp into your product. So how do you think the organization fulfills that need?
George.
Well, eto eh. Doon pa lang sa episodes ng HR Shouts and Whispers, ang dami ng, for those who have not watched it in the past, they're missing a lot. Because number one, everything is being served to them free of value. No, and that's the good thing. They can pick and choose which one they would like to listen to, which one resonates well with them. No, and it's all for free. What more what more if we design a program, quote and unquote, that will really target what you exactly need.
Yes.
So that's the thing. These things that Ken and Christina have put out there is so value packed. I mean, this was unheard for before. I would
Yes.
see companies, left and right now that would come up with, okay, let's have an event on this date and like that. But when we look at it, it's like saying, hey, in HR Shouts and Whispers, we've been doing this weekly already. I mean, you should have just joined us. You should have just watched us because there's so much you've missed already. And it's all there. The repository is there. All you need to do is search and look at whatever you want to know. Learn about pathology. You want to know about recruitment. You want to know
Mm.
about interviews. It's all there. From something as scientific as CNB, compensation and benefits, to
Benefits. Yeah.
something as light as being happy in your workplace. It's all there.
Yes.
So people will just have to pick and choose, and that's how we create the value. We put it out there because we're not exactly all the subject matter experts,
Yeah.
and we're here to just facilitate that.
Yes.
But when we create those programs, when we come in and take a look at, hey, you may wanna you have a problem with your organization, you wanna have a problem with your customers, you have a problem with the way you guys communicate from an organizational level up until to employee level, and that's where we're gonna come in and, hey, let's fix these things for you with our different brand of how we approach it. And you've seen it naman, Gracie. Ken does it in terms of languaging. I do it in terms of process. Christina does it in terms of operations.
Yeah. Bye
Diba?
bye.
And
Yes.
again, everything is covered holistic.
Yes, yes. And friends out there who are running their own businesses or are captains of their own businesses, um, look up the training programs and the podcast of HR Shouts and Whispers, and you will understand what George and Ken are talking about. Because the weekly podcast is just the tip of the iceberg. But the topics are so varied, and that's right, it's already given. It's like a buffet of this past year. All the topics like a buffet of knowledge and subjects on a wide range of subjects concerning HR, concerning management, even employee health and wellness. And I remember I was guested for an episode on nutrition.
Yeah.
You know,
Nutrition. Yeah, I remember that.
employee wellness and nutrition. Last night you were talking about Buteco, which is a revolutionary technique
Breathing
in
technique. Yeah.
breathing that can
Yeah.
help people with anxiety attacks, stress, asthma, and other illnesses. So, and then when it comes to the technology, the actual science of human resource management, George and Christina have also prepared customized training programs that you can conduct in your own company if you want it done specially tailor fitted to your companies, or you could be part of an ongoing class, right, George?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
then and it's great value. It's great value for money and for free. And a lot of courses are for free. So in fact, I was very fascinated by the whole by the design or the the way the unique presentation of HR Shouts and Whispers and the unique stamp of the high level of expertise and range of topics that you guys cover,
Yeah.
and like you said earlier, it's for free. A lot of them are for free.
All
So
thanks to
George,
Christina.
all of this repository of Ken, I know that you're on top of the podcast and all. How do our audience members access the past topics?
Yeah, they could just go to HR Shouts and Whispers. I think Christina made a YouTube also for that. So you could search it on YouTube. You could also go to HR Shouts and Whispers, which is the group. Again, it's not just about adding value, it's also collaborating with all these experts in the field, getting to know their stories. Again, just to add to what everyone has said, think about it this way: it's a live session that has no time limit. Like, we could just run to 2 hours or 3 hours. We don't really care. But the focus is it's also an ask me anything. So for all the guests there that are like joining or sharing their insight, feel free. It's an advantage that you get to talk to these people and you could ask questions. My job is to ask your questions to them. So type it down, comment it down on the comment section, and what I'll do is I'll read them to to our guests, and you get your answers quick
Yes. So if
for
there's
free.
any issue on HR matters,
Yeah.
management, anything that you want to take a look at HR Shouts and Whispers online. Just
Yeah.
search for them. You can Google HR Shouts and Whispers. They're in the company's in Facebook, and they've got their own website. Just try to catch them. What is the regular schedule of your podcast, Ken?
Once a week. We if
One,
usually it's on a Wednesday, but it
yeah.
really depends. So if the schedule would change, we just adapt to that change. It's all thanks to Cristina Reclamado. I mean, she gets to organize all of this, and we get to support her vision. So Chris, yeah, if you're watching this, thank you. You just keep the leadership and maintain it. We do will follow your vision on how you see this going through. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Okay. Okay, guys, we're gonna go on a second break. When
Mm.
we come back, we'll do the last 15 minutes of the show.
Sige. Yeah.
Let's try to talk about the workload of the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go for that break now.
We'll be back shortly with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie only here on V81 Radio. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow na. Are you looking for new songs to include in your playlist?
Salamat sa lahat masasabi tao. Listen to my head. Pahiram ng sandali.
Napam na ang bahala sa September playlist nyo. Abangan at makijam kina Regine Ong, Butter Giant, Salia 143 at Bandang Lapis dito lang sa Napam, your new all-Pinoy alternative music source. Manood at makijam every Sunday, 1 p.m. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, South Manila. Kabayan, nahuhumsik ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang Tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napam Hour. Ang Napam ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napam Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Talaga mahalagang October to remember dahil hindi din puhuhuli ang ibang Viva OPM artists na sasabak sa kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 kasama si Papa Gio, Yumi Laksamana, Isid, Solstice, Just Rap, and Sabu. Kaya iset nyo na ang mga kalendaryo nyo tuwing Merkules 7pm California Time o Huwebes 10am Pinas Time at samahan si Papa Gio para makipagkulitan, tawanan at kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2. Dito yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Now back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio.
Okay, and we're back in our last segment for the evening. I'd like to call back our two guests, Mr. George Ramos and Ken Sumera. And the last few minutes, I'd like to take a look at what do you think will be the way in the next few months or maybe the next few years, the future of work. Like how people will be working, because now it's work from home. So how do you think will this trend progress?
Oh, ako muna, George.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so ako saan how I see it is it's a mix of both things. Two things, like work from home and still going to work. Things will still get back to will be normal again. As I see it, a lot of people right now are stuck in their homes for how many months now? 6 months, and most of these people are like itching to go out already to communicate face to face. I mean, that's how we're built. That's why most of us are doing our lives, our like Zoom webinars and calls and Messenger, because communication is very very important. Human communication is very very important. All right, we have to save our sanity. Right. So moving forward in the future, I see Zoom still being used a lot, but there's also a mix of meetings with face masks still on for protection. Not really sure with face shields, because sometimes it gets irritating, especially if you're wearing glasses. You gets fogged and everything. So yeah, it's a mixture of two. Yeah, work from home and yeah, going to work.
How about you, George? How do you think it will impact on the next step on the way we do work?
Yeah. Ako tingin ko for how we're going to work, people realize that you can actually become multi-skilled faster. No, because being in the pandemic forced people to adapt into technology. They thought all the while was restrictive for them. Even the teachers, people, who were doing traditional learning before, they thought that we couldn't do online because it's still different from doing it face to face. No, but now you realize that it's actually possible and it's actually better. So again, with the future, people will realize the importance of being multi-skilled. Therefore, it also puts down the limiting belief that you have to learn a skill for a long time in order for you to be a master of it. You can actually do it now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And being agile. So people talk about agile concepts, no, diba? Like, hey, agile concepts, you apply it right now. But no, real agility is being able to do it right now and start working on it. No, gone are the days when people thought about, I have to master a skill. It'll take me about 3 months, 2 months, 5 months, to be able to learn something. Now, no, learn it now. Make mistakes right now so that you'd be able to become better on a day-to-day basis. And then, after a few weeks or a couple of days, you are already doing it yourself. You're performing the skill already. Then you become surprised. In a similar fashion, people didn't know how to use Zoom, StreamYard, or Google Meet, or Microsoft Teams. And even with the project management platforms like Trello, Asana, or all of these other platforms that just came out right now. But now they're quickly adapting to it. In fact, some are really so good at it already. So it only means one thing, you have to adapt quicker than anyone else. And I hope that, and I'm seeing that the workforce will be like that, because you wouldn't want to repeat the same mistakes that we had before, being
Yeah.
complacent. No, I think
Yes.
I think I refer to it as complacency. We were so looking forward to the routines that change afforded us. But there's no such thing as a routine.
Yeah.
Because of what happened, it only exposed us to, hey, we can do this. We can certainly change things just by
Yes.
adapting and doing it faster.
Yes. The way I see it, I mean, on the way it will impact on the way we design or the way we live. The home and the workspace has already blended. I mean, you go to office, it's just a foot away or the next room, and it's your living room is here and your kids' room are over there. So, in terms of living spaces and workspaces, there's going to be a modification in terms of the way we design our living spaces and our workspaces, because
Mhm.
now with the growing emergence of work from home arrangements, I think work from home will be around for a long time. And although there will already be a time, maybe in 2 years, or where more people will go to work because of the constraints of commuting and the expense and all that, I think the home office arrangement will be a change that will go a long way. That's
Yeah.
which is one. And secondly, I think in terms of creating a better technology or better internet, we will be clamoring for the kind of internet that will necessitate, like better bandwidth, or something that will be more reliable, because even for us digital broadcasters and podcasters, we're reliant on the kind of internet that we buy into or what plan, right? Because it leaves much to be desired. So I think that consumers must demand or will be demanding a higher level or a higher quality of internet service, because it's now as basic as electricity. It's no longer just it's something that it's nice to have. No, it's internet connection at home is a need to have. It's part of the utility arena, water, power, and now internet. It's going to be part of that now, that landscape. So I think as consumers, we better think of the way the internet service is provided by our providers, and demand the kind of service that we require as professionals working from home, as entrepreneurs, as broadcasters or podcasters, and as communications people, as trainers and educators, because a lot of it will depend on your setup, the quality of delivery for you. Like, it's unfortunate that Christina's not with us tonight, and that case in point, when your internet connection goes down, that's it. You can't participate. And to participate now, we've got to have the internet connection that's reliable. I think another area of work that will evolve is also the idea of crossing borders. Like if you want, you're correct. Learn it now, or do what you want. If there's anything that you feel that you want to retool, relearn, or learn a new skill, it's important to do it. And if it's not accessible in this country, by all means, go explore what's offered by Stanford, MIT, UC Berkeley, because Open University of Rome. If you want to learn a new language, if you want to learn something that will add value to, or even just a new interest, because it's all open now. It's all accessible, and I feel that will really enrich. If you're out to enrich yourself with new learnings, this new internet avenue that will allow us access to, oh God, a treasure trove of courses out there take advantage of that. And I I think it's great that we live in this time. It's difficult, I know it's difficult, but there are new things that we can explore, whereas before, just to think of, oh, if I want to go to school in, say, UC Berkeley, or MIT, or Open University of Rome, you've got to go there. But now it's all on the internet. So, to me, that's a resource that people out there should, tap into. And of course, tapping into and knowing people like you guys, George, Ken, and Christina. Again, I want to plug it out there to my audience, who are followers of Tita Gracie, the young people, the young managers, the young supervisors out there. There's so much you can learn from these guys. And learning should be a continuous, lifelong endeavor. It should not just stop when you're a certain age. I for one, am a believer in lifelong learning. And I, it's an advocacy that I feel I would like us to, encourage out there, because HR Shouts and Whispers is all about that. It's having this zest for learning, having this interest for learning, and trying to, be part of this new phenomenon out there that, we offer to not just the HR practitioner, but to every manager, every employee out there. Go beyond what your cubbyhole is, your comfort zone. Go beyond, right? Like Ken, NLP. Wow. One day we're gonna have one show just on NLP. I promise that, because it's
Pwede, yeah.
oh, I'm sure we can really quickly fill up.
Lawak nun.
Oh, ang lawak nun, di ba? No, so before we end the show, George, Ken, any last or any parting shots to our audience out there, George?
Again, thank you so much, Gracie, for having us.
Thank you.
So, we're so grateful, to with a person such as your stature and influence, and of course, your knowledge. We're very, very grateful to be part of this.
Thank
And,
you.
we're very, very thankful. And I guess it also bodes well with your mission to share these things, to your audience. And we're again, HR Shouts and Whispers is not it's HR, but it's more than that. And again, the value that we've had and we still continue to give is something that we're just so excited on a weekly, daily basis to provide to people. No, it's that mission of helping them communicate better, of helping them manage better, of helping them, strategize better, think forward, adapt, innovate. And these are not just buzzwords. We really want them, or connect them to the experts talaga, to the specialists, in the field, because we're there to facilitate it for them. So
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing for sharing this to your audience, and we're really, really grateful. We we can't, we can't contain the excitement. We're seeing so much greater things that's going to happen within this industry of learning, marketing, human resource management. And what better way than to start it here, no? To jump off from
Yes.
here. So again, thank you so much.
Yes,
Mhm.
my pleasure. It's an honor, George, to have you here tonight and to share all of your insights. And Ken, any last messages to our audience
Yeah,
before we conclude?
yeah. Always add value to yourself. That's plainly all that I say. So either it's with HR Shouts and Whispers or with other, other podcasts or FB lives. Again, focus on yourself, focus on your growth, know what you want, know the direction where you want to go. Because if you could determine that, it's clear. Everything's clear. All you need to do now is take action. So we're just here to give insight, experience, and thought. At the end of the day, it's still you that's gonna take that action. So yeah, super grateful. thank you again for inviting us here. And if ever you need anything, you need to contact us. Again, you could go to the group HR Shouts and Whispers. You could ask questions there, and gladly, there are lots of HR experts there that could answer your questions or redirect you to persons that can. Yun lang.
All right. Ken, George, thank you so much for being part of my show tonight. Mauulit to ulit. I'm sure somewhere down the road, we will have another episode and hopefully by then Christina will be with
Yeah.
us. But tonight, I am so grateful that we had such an interesting discussion on your own fields of expertise, as well as the revolutionary approach of HR Shouts and Whispers in terms of offerings, in terms of creating a new dynamic, a new paradigm in terms of training, learning, and development. So, friends out there, remember HR Shouts and Whispers, look for them. They're on Facebook and in the internet, and I'm sure you will find something there that will benefit your organizations. This has been Tita Gracie Venezuela saying once again to be safe, reminding everyone to be safe. Every day in this coming work week, we're still under pandemic. Follow all the safety protocols out there. Don't let your guard down, ladies and gentlemen. We're facing something serious. And I want everyone to be safe and healthy. And remember, the Lord is only a prayer away. He will never leave us nor forsake us. So thank you for joining me once again this week. I hope to see you next week. Have a good evening and thank you.
Leading personalities, representative insights, relevant current issues all together in a meaningful and delightful conversations as your social barometer. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Sundays, 6 p.m. Hosted by breakthrough millennial boomer Gracie Venezuela. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Only here on V81 Radio. Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, your all hits, all Pinoy digital radio station in South Manila. This is V81 Radio.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan.